When I say Marina, you say Herman. Marina. Herman. Marina. Herman. Thank you all so much for participating in that. And thank you, Marina Herman, for joining the Patreon. It is truly an honor to have you here. And I promise we will do everything in our power to make this a fun place for you and for everyone on our Patreon. If you would like to join, you can head to patreon.com/reminiscent. But the reason you're all here, the Woke Up in a Car episode. That makes my job so much easier, Pat. Thank you.
The thing is, I haven't been trying to do it poorly. But I'm like reaching over to hit the button as I do it. So I'm doing like 3 different things as I... Anyway, hot banana, check 1, 3. This is the first time I've heard that. I've heard check, hey, yeah. We've talked about that one.
I don't know why.
I've never heard hot banana.
I don't know why that came to my head, but hot banana,
that's not a
check
thing.
1, 3.
I
don't know.
I love it. You could have been like, oh yeah, this goes way back to my Erie Playhouse days when I was there soundboarding my mom's productions.
I think I was like trying to think of the Wiggles song, or like something from deep in the back of my brain went to the Wiggles, but I pulled up banana
Fruit
instead of
salad.
potato.
Yummy, check. Tom, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you going to paint your body till all your skin's gone?
Oh my God, man. If I could afford it, hell yeah. Shit's so expensive.
So I hear.
Oh God.
Well, you need to keep moving to new homes that you could love to keep painting your body till all your skin's gone. Because this week is the Woke Up in a Car episode. Welcome, everybody.
Let's do it. What is going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
And I'm Pat.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent Podcast. Yeah, so like when I was getting tattooed the most, actually, I was paying my artist. One was only $125 an hour. The other one was $200 an hour. And at the time, I was making $11 an hour. So I had to work for like a month to have one tattoo session. Yeah, I've come a long way since then, but it's sad. I know that you don't have any tattoos, but like from ages 19 to 22, I got like pretty filled up. And it's really sad to like have the money I wish I had at 21, but not have tattoos be a priority. It's really sad. Growing up is brutal. Anyways.
We're spinning out. I started re-listening to Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, so this is going to be a long one today. Let's dive right back in. Let's get after it.
That was like early days drunk in the Cleveland closet stuff, right?
I've been on and off trying to figure that book out because I know I'm the character that doesn't want to deal with the maintenance. But I think the guy admits throughout that he's not perfect either. He starts off anyway. He's laying a lot of foundational work at the front. I'm really coming at it with an open mind this time, but I remain skeptical about everything regarding how people view it, what's in it, how I feel about it, and maybe it'll spawn another Ron Carnage book. But so we're talking about something corporate, and we have this bizarre old episode where we used to do this versus that episodes way back when we were figuring out the format of the show. And none of those get any listens at all except for Leaving Through the Window versus Hybrid Theory, I think it is. It's some Linkin Park album.
Why did we do that?
And I don't remember what our thought process would have even freaking been, man. But
you know what? I think there was a week where like I wanted to talk about, or you wanted to talk about something corporate, but I had never listened to them. So you were like, well, what's something you want to talk about? And I said Linkin Park. You're like, let's talk about them both at the same time, which makes absolutely no sense. But
pretty raw. It took us, when I say it took us years to figure out the show, I think we're still figuring it out. I think that might have been too short of an amount of time, but there was definitely some swings and misses. Can you give us a quick elevator version of who the Sherpa was that encouraged you to get back into this particular group? Because we're talking about Khaki Rock today. We're talking about the dudes at the summit, some of our youth group buddies from Academy that we would hang with occasionally. A little more of a Khaki Rock crowd, but you weren't like hardcore. Or I'm not sure I was either in high school. One wanted to touch back on that just real quick for people who haven't heard us talk about them before.
My only like real memory of this band before doing the show was I was a dishwasher at Eaton Park at 17, and I had my, I think it would have still been that blue 4 gig iPod mini. Oh, why did I ever sell that for like $10 at a garage sale? And I was like back in like the storage room changing one of the soda syrup things, and I was trying to listen to them again. I don't know if it seems like this would have been a Sam Cray song. For some reason in my head, I think of James McCallion, but this would have been well after
it's a Sam Cray.
Together.
And he has floppy blonde hair too, so I tied the two together in my mind right away.
And he was an excellent musician as well, but
yes,
still is
continues to be.
Yeah.
The Daddios. Yeah, if you ever had a outdoor bar patio in the area, he's probably playing. Check him out.
And I just remember listening to Hurricane and being like, damn, I keep trying, but I really do not like this band. And I only associated them with the song Hurricane, which I do not think is one of their best songs. I didn't actually listen to them until we did the Punk Rock Princess episode, which was like maybe less than a year ago. And this album is so good.
It really is. And honestly, we should only talk about this band, I think. I say that probably most weeks, but criminally under-discussed from our perspective. I'm glad we at least got one on the books to like get comfortable in the khaki rock bubble. There's different, I think, of the two phrases we have discussed the most, creating our own little niches as we work through the decade. Fart punk and khaki rock are two that are pretty specific to this show, I think.
Sensible Gene rock, which is Cartel
Yeah,
alone.
sensible slack rock. Yeah, right. There's the people MGK might have umbrage with who are wearing sensible footwear on tour and whatnot. But we've spoken about those comments at length on the show. I won't get back into it. But
oh my God.
Yes, I think so. I didn't listen until college. I think I worked for the student newspaper. It was called The Post.
Original. Sorry.
weird shade to throw. Like what was a newspaper started in like centuries ago supposed to call itself? Like talking shit about our forefathers. Dope. Like real original shitheads. Like, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to throw that one. I'm going to say like that's a weird shade to throw, but we can keep it moving. Anyway, we had a little it was your basic college student club at the end of the day that would have a little party at the end of the semester and everything like that, staff awards. But we would, of course, drink heavily into the night, this being a school in the middle of nowhere in Ohio. But I remember hearing Woke Up in a Car come on, and I think we were playing like Jenga, but each of the pieces had like a thing written on it, like kind of a truth or dare mixed in with Jenga type thing, kind of a drinking game situation. Anyway, the person that was seated near me, I had never met before, who was on staff. I was still a freshman. But they were like, oh, yeah, if you haven't listened to Leaving Through the Window, you're an idiot and you need to. And they were right. And I remember this song feeling a lot like Failure by Design by Brand New and Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers in this very specific category of songs in my brain that when I heard them for the first time, they made utter sense, almost as if I like expected them to exist subconsciously, like when you have a deja vu moment and you're like, hey, I dreamed this like a few days ago, I think. And I can't really explain why those three songs hit me the way they did, but this one just made total sense. And then I just dove right into the album for like probably 4 to 7 full months, right? But what?
No, Are
you still mad that the newspaper's called The Post?
It's fucking stupid. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just listening.
The other one in town was called The Messenger. I don't know. Would you have rather it be called like the whatever county Democrat, or I don't know.
I just call it fake news.
Oh my God. Tom's thoughts on the media at large is what everyone came here for today. Any other thoughts on just like what people called stuff back then?
Liberal cucks. No, nothing.
Liberal cucks. Oh my God. Are you okay today? I think would be my larger question.
Yeah, I just found this really great YouTuber named Alex Jones, and I'm just like really into it.
Okay.
He's got a great vlog on there.
Well, I'm glad this is an audio platform, so you don't see our forked tongues being members of the lizard elite. Damn, I did not expect to hit that.
Okay, back on track. I'm sorry.
Yes. Cool. Yeah. For everyone who went to any type of education after high school, hopefully yours was great, regardless of how many lawsuits are facing that current institution. And, we'll just leave it. Shout out to the art institutes. No. Weird smoke. I'm just saying it's weird smoke. I'm just very you're putting me on the weird defensive here. So I was listening to a song at a party, and yes, I liked it a lot, I guess. I think really the larger point I wanted to get across today was we recently talked about Good Charlotte, or semi-recently, and we talk about the Khaki Rock thing a lot, but I think it's all a grand experiment, at least through the lens of those two bands, in terms of substance reigning supreme kind of always, and there being literally no connection ever between style over substance or any link whatsoever.
Right.
In this video we talk about today, and we'll get into it a little more detailed, and I'll toss the ball back to you, but he just doesn't even have socks or shoes on. He's just in a living room slamming on a piano, and it goes about as hard as I've ever heard or seen anyone go. And we talked about it a little bit during the Punk Rock Princess video, where you go into this sleazy club and the label was trying to make him seem a certain type of way, but he's wearing a purple fucking sweater with a collar coming out. And I know I say that every time we talk about this band, but I think the larger point hidden beneath kind of joking about that is just it is refreshing as I'm in this very annoying Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance audiobook phase at the moment of there is nothing more comforting than him showing up looking the way he does with his floppy hair and his rosy cheeks and his fucking khakis, and then just laying it down for all to see, and it mattering what comes out. I think nothing brings me more peace, if I had to say, Tom. There's something very comforting about Andrew McMahon's entire existence, I think. And that's not hyperbole. Not to be too not to treat him like some type of entity in that sense, but also maybe.
I kind of want to backtrack a little bit and ask more about the person that told you to listen to this, because I feel was it the Motion City soundtrack? You said there was this cool older girl that was wearing a shirt. Is that? Yeah,
this was also an older female, kind of an upperclassman, worked on the culture staff. I was writing on the campus staff, covering administration, how they were misspending our dollars and things like that. Being in college, feeling very comforted by telling truth to power or thinking you were doing so, etc.
Right.
But I don't know. It's she probably had a cigarette in her hand or something. I don't know. It's some very typical college flashback on How I Met Your Mother or something. You know what I mean? We might as well have had those drug rug sweaters on. You know what I mean? For all I know. I never sported a goatee, but I might as well have a goatee in this flashback to speak to how young and innocent I was.
It's just interesting though, because that's the third or possibly even the fourth time I've heard you say that some girl told you to listen to a band and you rushed home and went to listen to it. Was there any follow through? Did you tell her, hey, I listened to that band you told me to and I liked it? Or was it just something you kept to yourself? I don't know. I find that stuff kind of interesting.
Oh yeah. So I think, I guess maybe we've never got into it. You've had people sit you down and really beg you. If there was anybody I ran into who seemed to have something figured out that I didn't, be that a member of the opposite sex or not, usually I try to figure out what kind of gets them going and what they're interested in and try to understand that art to gain. Basically, I think as a principle, I'm curious about if people are finding joy in this. Again, sorry, you caught me in a week where I'm back on my bullshit in a big way. But, if people are happy, I'm why? Tell me everything. You know what I mean? Dude. So that's been kind of the pursuit since I can remember.
I almost tweeted something last night and then decided to leave it in drafts. It was are you all enjoying this? Are we supposed to be having fun here? This shit sucks. So right. I'm in one of those weeks too.
Yeah, no, welcome to the show. I'm Tom, and I'm Pat. Actually, I'll record a few live here so you can plug that in. Now you've been wanting to update it. And I'm Pat. And I'm Pat. And I'm Pat. And I'm Pat. That was a bad one. That last one was bad. I'll do more later. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. So, I think joking aside, I have taken that attitude pretty seriously, honestly. Usually growing up, it was I'd be more into it if it was a crush's interest. I'd be I want to know everything about this shit immediately and try to figure out what makes it good and have an elegant opinion about it. But also if it's just somebody who seems to have some element of finding peace or joy figured out. I'm curious about how they go about their day and how they view things and how they think about things, how they talk about things. And if someone says this is one of the albums that should matter to somebody who seems to have similar interests, and we do the show about this kind of whole subculture or whatever, decade. Yeah, I immediately dove in and was grateful. And there was no real like exit interview, if that's what you're asking.
Gotcha.
I think like might have been like in passing. Like what was interesting was that the paper, the older editors would always, back in early YouTube days, put on a song to like edit, or at least mine did. His name was Ryan, but he'd pick a song, and he was like a big. I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase it. So he turned me on to the Hold Steady, but he really liked Wilco, and he really liked Pavement, like a lot, like more than I've ever met anyone who liked Pavement. Anyway, so he would just, typical older college individual who is like 3 years into that experience, and I'm only a few months, right? So it's like, hey, I'm going to play this song. Do you have anything you'd like to recommend? Because he's trying to get a feel for what you're all about, and you don't want to say anything too silly, but
Bowling
I think
for soup.
probably well, I think I was heading into my freshman year. I was like, was the bike ride summer I talked about a lot, where it was pretty mostly like mid-career Say Anything and 4 Years Strong.
Oh gosh.
4 Years Strong's album of covers, weirdly.
Yeah.
I had the the part in their cover of Ironic by Alanis Morissette that explodes into their typical like happycore or whatever.
Yeah.
That was my morning wake-up call for all the 8 a.m. classes I
Nice.
pretty stupidly scheduled for myself, thinking like, I'll be responsible and wake up. I didn't realize till the next year and the years after that you can, not do morning classes or Monday or Friday classes. You can just have a shitty Tuesday every week and have literally like a 6-day weekend if you schedule everything right. So
that's what I always try to do.
typical underclassmen stuff. Anyway, hopefully that sheds some light. But yeah, the Motion City lady seemed like she might as well have been on Wall Street, like an adult with like a suit and like a cappuccino or something. You know what I mean? Like from where I was coming from Lake Cliff, I had gotten to the high school, which was big news for my like 13-year-old day or whatever. And she was like, here's a band. I'm like, bands? Wow. Love bands. Love them. Absolutely adore bands.
I heart to rock.
Yes, I do heart to rock. Zach, meanwhile, writing rock on a sheet of printer paper on the back of his first guitar. Just pretty innocent stuff. But no, yeah, I think like I'm mostly open to what everybody has to say about everything, but particularly matters I don't think I know that much about, which I don't think I know very much about anything. So usually I'm pretty willing to listen, which is why I think you are usually the one bearing your soul on this show, if we're being honest with ourselves, because I'm mostly curious about who's talking about anything. I don't know. Like, what am I supposed to be talking about? I don't know. I wouldn't claim to know. You know what I mean? So, which is probably what has sunk in several different job interviews throughout my life. But, what are you good at? It's like, what's anybody good at, bro? Without a fucking cigarette and just be like, look, it all started when no, I'm just kidding. But yeah. So this was definitely, I wouldn't call it a certified Sherpa, but there was a flurry of new music recommendations in college, which I don't think is too dissimilar from others' experiences, if I had to guess. So yeah. But I was like, whoa. And then Hurricane, Kavanaugh Park, all the stuff, deep album stuff. I was like, just upset I missed it the first time around, because I had every opportunity to with Sam and some of those Summit dudes, going up to see live shows, going to see Attack and shit back in that goofy, weird throwdown techno-y late version of the scene right before we graduated. But they have. I feel like everyone in our lives, you and me specifically, has a better relationship with music than we do, and we're just lucky to be around. And this band is definitely that in a big way. But yes, that's mostly. Sorry if I dove too deep or too quickly into the, being thankful that there's no tie between style over substance or anything. And this being my favorite example of that, that was kind of my finishing point. So you can stop listening now, probably everybody. That was like what I was getting ready to wrap the whole episode up with. But I do mean it. It's like the most beautiful thing ever is Andrew McMahon's whole life is really such a tremendous thing. Seeing him at Bunbury in Cincinnati a few years ago, which I tweeted a pic, not that recently, but pretty recently, about how close I got to just seeing him just jump on floats and being so happy and into it. And he just seems to be like somebody who's so like fully doing exactly what he's supposed to be. It's very nice.
For sure. I mean, I don't know much about the guy. I mean, I think I'm more familiar with Jack's Mannequin than Something Corporate. And I didn't realize for a long time they were the same person. But now there's like Agent McMahon in the Wilderness.
Yeah.
The dude is he's doing the music thing for sure. Good
Yeah.
for him,
Well,
man.
after freshman year when I worked at Gannon's radio station, WERG, I think Swim might have been the track. It was some Jack's Mannequin tune. And yeah, I mean, you and I don't claim to be the pros, right? So it's like, I didn't know either. I was like, wow, this is great. Years later, I would find out it's that guy. I'm like, wow, that guy's got some talent. Call somebody on the phone. I think I got the sound you're looking for. But I'm just a kid in Erie, PA, and he's already super famous. Before we ramble off into the darkness off the cliff with our motorcycles too fast, how about we go into the fast facts? You want to take them this week? Or
I mean, there's just like a lot of stuff from Wikipedia, I guess.
For the first time. Fast facts, : get ready, everybody. Buckle up. These will be factual in the sense that they are only 99% factual because I got them on Wikipedia, I suppose. Oh, did I tell you? Well, no, never mind. At some point in my academic career, we'll call it college, someone in a group project cited Wikipedia in a page. I was like, man, this has been like headline news in this arena for so long. What the hell are you doing? This is so odd. It's so odd. Like the ultimate weak chain link in the group project. Like everyone jokes about it, but I was like, Wikipedia, man, what the? It was like a copy and pasted paragraph from, it's like, damn, this is brutal.
I once wrote a research paper in college, and again, my school doesn't even exist anymore. So like anything went at that school, but I did a research. It was like a presentation. You had to talk for like 15 minutes on a topic. And I think my freshman year of high school, I did my research paper on crop circles. And for college, my freshman year, I fucking went up there and just like freestyled a 15-minute talk on crop circles. And then we had to write down our sources. And I just like, I remembered the books I used in high school, and then I made up page numbers for it.
Wow. That's amazing. Oh my God.
Yep.
Because we had a pretty intense research paper process in high school. I think I did mine. I couldn't think of a thing I was like passionate about. Big surprise. So they gave me one. And it was like...
That is so Pat.
I was like, can you just give me one? So they gave me... And this is no joke, and not even a joking matter. They gave me mental health in the judicial system in America. And as like a high school freshman, I'm going to the library asking Mrs. whoever, I forget the name. I'm just like, hey, I'm just looking for where to start on this pretty hefty problem in our... Anyway, I was not like capable from any measurable brain capacity way or measurable emotional way to like handle that particular topic. Luckily, they held my hand through it quite a bit. I didn't know you picked crop circles.
Yeah, what differentiates an authentic one from a man-made one?
I can't believe it based on the one I was handed that they let that go. I can't believe it. I didn't know that till today. Oh man, I was like in it. I was like fully in that paper. Like, I don't know, man. How are you supposed to? I mean, we can't train ourselves to not sympathize with these sorts of things, but also like there are noted, cases where people are trying to take advantage of this sort of thing. And I'm like, maybe 14, just like in conclusion, I don't know, man.
Jesus Christ,
I wish
dude.
I know. It was honestly, I don't want to call it a trying time, but it was just like, I kind of lost myself in that whole process, if I'm being honest.
Oh, God.
Anyway, the fast facts about Leaving Through the Window. Second studio album and major label debut by rock band Something Corporate. 3-month recording process.
Wow.
Took place across California and Florida with Jim Wirt acting as producer.
That's a budget, man. Wow.
Yeah, it's a bit of a budget. I mean, the kid's got talent. He's got the rosy cheeks. He's a good-looking young buck. Music video was made in 2002 for If You See Jordan, probably the campier one. I'm assuming we'll get to it at some point. But in '02, the group then embarked on a 3-month-long U.S. tour, performing at Warped Tour and then supporting New Found Glory on a European trek and once again on a U.S. tour through the end of the year. So I would have been 12 and not at any of those shows. One of my biggest life regrets, as it turns out. I'm learning just now. So they released a DVD single that featured music videos for I Woke Up in a Car and You See Jordan. Tom, have you ever bought a DVD just with music videos on it?
Just with music videos? No. I mean,
I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, I can definitely picture that as a thing.
I bought Live in Texas, the Linkin Park DVD, and played that thing until it was fucking melted.
Yeah. Freaking lasers, man. Leaving to the Window sold 12,000 copies in the first week, charting at number 101 on the Billboard 200 chart in the process. Not bad. Not bad. Whoa, you hear that, Andrew? We're talking some serious smack over here.
No, it's not bad. That's great.
That's right. It is great. Moving on. Just kidding. It appeared on another Billboard chart, Heatseekers albums, where it reached number 1.
That's
number 1
nuts.
on Heatseekers.
Yeah.
Punk Rock Princess. And If You See Jordan had some success, Jordan charting at number 29 on the alternative song chart for Billboard, and number 68 in the UK, Punk Rock Princess, charting only in the UK at number 33. As of mid-05, the album's sales stood at just under 300,000 copies.
Nuts.
I Woke Up in a Car was written after the first Something Corporate tour. A day or two after it ended, McMahon sat in his parents' garage where his piano was situated, as the story goes, and wrote this song around his memories of the tour. I did not know this was a tour song. Did you?
No, and actually, beloved geniuslyrics.com really actually hooked this one up pretty well.
Oh, wow.
With
yeah, we usually make fun of that website, even though it's our favorite website.
No, I mean, they even had they were referencing things that he said in a live video, and they linked to the live video where he introduced the song and gave some backstory, and it actually pulled through for us this week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, songlyrics.com/meaning. I didn't even say it right. I kind of forgot what it's called. Anyway, following all of this, the group filmed the music video in Toronto during an off day in between tours. They don't look tired, but they look like they're enjoying their time off in the video, I guess. This is some interesting perspective to add to it.
Yeah.
Because I just assumed it was this low-budget thing, but these guys must have been freaking exhausted. They were just like, hey, we did an album. Great. We have your next 3 years of your lives planned out.
Right. So I didn't know, I had never ever heard that people shortened the name of this band to SoCo, and I think it came across like some other song meaning site where people kept referring to them as SoCo, and then it occurred to me this tweet that Chris sent talking about like, give me all your SoCo takes, and like, I'm such a fucking poser that like the only thing my brain can rationalize was that Chris had mistaken Soko Amaretto line for a Something Corporate song instead of Brand New. I was like, what is he talking about, Soko? And I think it's because he capitalized it all, or maybe it was all lowercase, but I saw online it was like capital S, capital C, kind of shed some light on the situation, and I was immediately embarrassed, although no one was there for it, and I could have honestly just said nothing now and not had to live with that shame.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
All right, so the music video, and we've gone like a long time without really diving into lyrics, and I kind of wanted to get through.
Dive in, man.
Some
buckle
of them.
up. Buckle up. Let's buckle up. I think I have having a heart attack, and I'm going to go to the hospital. You finish up. I'll be back. Let's buckle up. I'll never do that again. I'll never do that again. I promise. If I've ever said anything truthful in my life, it is this. I will never do that again. Okay. Yeah, I cut you off. What were you saying?
I want to go through a couple lyrics because I really like a ton of the songs in this album. I didn't feel like I didn't feel like my heart being pulled toward this song anytime that I've heard it. I thought it was like a good song, but it just like didn't resonate with me.
Whoa. Whoa. I take umbrage.
But
umbrage is being taken.
After scoping out geniuslyrics.com and listening.
Did they reel you in, dude?
And listening a couple more times and like really understanding what the song is about, I honestly feel like such an old man trying to like desperately connect with like their child. Like, hey, did you know I was on tour for 2 weeks back in 2009? Because I feel like such an idiot for bringing it up because it's so like nothing. But I feel a lot of parallels between that very short situation I was in and the lyrics of this song. So I kind of wanted to, I don't know. I feel like the lyrics are interesting and it's worth getting into. And a lot of times we get through the whole
major
episode.
Breakthrough.
No, I mean, a lot of times we get through an entire episode and like never even talk about the song itself. It's always like just the music video. So I think we're, I don't know, lucky in the fact that there's not really much to this music video. So we can give a little time.
They're in a house. There's a rug. None of them have shoes or socks, and there's some lawn games. We'll get to it, but let's still go a little lyric heavy.
But first, I want to play a game.
Yes. Question 1: is it Mississippi on her knees or Mississippi underneath?
On her
Just
knees.
kidding.
Underneath. I don't know.
Oh shit! Well, we have a lot of ground to cover then. But sorry, I hijacked your game. Oh.
All right. So in this video, there are 3 Bowling for Soup parallels. I want to see if you uncovered any of them.
Wow. Tom, who are you and what have you done with Tom? This is so much fresh material coming my way. I'm very excited about it. But okay, I'm in.
All right, let's start the video though.
You should play the intro to the episode after you say that because it sounded so much. All right, let's get into it.
30 minutes in. Let's start it.
Hey everybody, taking a quick break from the show to say thank you to our Patreon supporters, specifically our Council of Emo Elders. That's Andre Prevost, Johnny Leftwich, Jason Carey, Anonymous, Chris Lukey, Nathan Eshelman, Drew Edwards, and Gary Sanchez. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show, everyone on Patreon, and everyone who listens. If you're interested in checking us out on Patreon, that's patreon.com/reminiscent. Yes, patreon.com/reminiscent. We have behind the scenes content. That's right, content. And the reason I'm feeling it is because Tom is in Erie. He went to a wedding, but while he was there, he took the time to gather a ton of video of some of the old venues and high schools and everything like that, where we used to hang out, where we met, in our old stomping grounds, things like that. And that'll be up exclusively in the Patreon. So that'll be really great, pretty fun stuff going on over there. So check it out. That's patreon.com/reminiscent. Thank you guys so much. And thank you, Tom, for doing this every week because this is very difficult. I've done approximately 47 takes of this. This is really nerve-wracking, mainly because we're so thankful, everybody. Okay, back to the show. Bye.
Okay. So yeah, they're in a pretty big living room, a sunroom. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Nice house. Not theirs. Yeah. It's in Canada.
Oh, it's in Canada.
Yeah, Toronto. That was one of the fast facts, Tom. Damn, I know when you told me to read them, you were only going to be half paying attention, but that was fucking one of them.
And I mean, so we talk about Band in a Box a lot. Maybe they had a slightly bigger budget for this, even though it comes off pretty low budget. They're in a room. And it's a video that serves like a very, very simple purpose. Meet the band. Look how hard they can rock. Don't you want to listen to them? There is, though.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
They had already done a really big shoot for If You See Jordan. Do you think this felt like, oops, we guessed the wrong song for the single, but let's get a video out while they're hot, while they have an off day in Toronto?
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, let's just get some cameras near them because it turns out we guessed wrong and like we got to get something to toss onto MTV or Fuse or whatever.
Yeah, honestly, it feels like...
Nothing against If You See Jordan, but like I could see that being the high school angsty, whatever. But like that song's not really what's so beautiful about this album, or I guess. But Punk Rock Princess is so obviously deserving of one, which they did, another big budget one. But Woke Up in a Car, I'm so shocked. And Claustrophobe by Laura Stevenson is another one of those songs, like Under the Bridge and Failure by Design, that made sense to me. But this one is just like, as soon as the chorus hits, to me, it's like, how does this not clear to everyone who's aware of this, that this song is one of the most important ones on the album? I don't know. It's just so explosively tremendous in every conceivable way.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned, like, did they misread what the single or what the beloved song would be? They made the wrong song.
You little red-haired bitch! Again, great, fine song. It's a fine song, but it's no Woke Up in a Car, man. It just isn't. And how could it ever be conceived as such? I don't know. I take umbrage.
But they got a music video out, and the thing that I really like about it is when you see like a band's like literal first music video ever, like they're still a local band with a 4-song EP. it's just shots of them trying to look cool while playing their instruments. And it serves a purpose. It's easy. It's an introduction to the band. It's very, what was it? The Oneaters on their first broadcast, like, all right, let's meet the Wonders, is like the feeling I get with this band, like America, meet something corporate. But the thing they do that I really like is they have like half the video is them just kind of like goofing around. So they're also like, not only are we like serious rockers, we're also like down to earth dudes, just like you. You can relate to us. And it's a fun video. It's super fun. I don't think they nail every frame of it, but I don't know. It serves its purpose. It's good. Yeah, like you said, no shoes, no socks. They are wearing just straight up slacks. It's like not even khakis. They look like dockers. They're going to their cousin's wedding.
Yes. And there's no forced fart punkery either, right? There's no like trying to hump one of their inflatables or anything.
Yeah,
it's just like they let them just be who they are, which makes it so much better. It's just like the beauty. Let's just capture this moment in time. And I'm so glad whoever decided that. Probably because they didn't want to ask the band to do much more, sending them off on 3 tours, just an insane amount of work for them at the time. But obviously it was a record that deserved as much of the world's attention as possible. So I guess I kind of get it. But I'm glad there was no like, all right, now like, fight each other with something. Or like, let's make it, they didn't try to make them.
Throw a blow
maybe they
doll
knew
in
they
the
guessed
pool.
wrong with.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They just kind of let Andrew McMahon be Andrew McMahon because that's all that's ever necessary. So I don't know. I'm really glad this is a simpler video, but yes, no, it is. We'll call it a band in a box. I'm cool with that.
Okay. I think it's better than that. But they're all on their instruments. There's an upright piano. Andrew McMahon is slamming on it. He's going back and forth between microphones, which I guess he does live, which is like, okay, I'm on the verse over here. And then when the chorus comes up, he steps away from the piano and he's like, dancing around the stage.
He must, because even when I saw him in Cincinnati, he never likes to stay in one place for very long. So maybe he's kind of had that. This is me guessing, total guesswork. Please tweet at us at _reminiscent FM if this is just flat out incorrect. But I'm assuming he likes to, move and shake it a little bit. Like get away from the piano, maybe sing, maybe do this, do that, and then hop back on the piano. I don't know if you got that vibe a little bit. Like, hey, make sure the mics are on because I'm going to be exploring the space a touch.
No, he's all over the place. I mean, through the video, during the live performance, even some of the goofiness of the other shots slip into like the live performance, and one of the guys is just hitting the cymbals with a drumstick. Andrew is like screaming in another dude's face. He's over by the drums. One of the guitarists is playing the other person's bass, which I know you like to do with the crowd live when you probably to cover up the fact that you forgot how to play that bridge or something.
Oh yeah. Tom, is this the right fret?
Yeah, so I'm interested, like they had a day off in Toronto. Whose house is this? How do they get there? They put all their instruments inside. They've got the full stacks in the living room. They've got the half a drum set anyway.
Yes, Marshall, it's not too late to sponsor the show. I need you to know that.
$500 for the whole year, Marshall.
Baby, baby, baby. Shows you how much we value ourselves.
Something that I started thinking about while watching the video over and over this morning is how you don't hear this drum beating anymore. Like the and I remember the first time I ever heard it, it was Linkin Park's Faint off of Meteora. And I just was like so blown away by like, you can hit the snare that many times. And when I was looking up the name of the song today, I didn't remember the name of the song, but I remembered that it was track 7, which is so funny to me. Like you remember the placement in the album. I guess I had like a CD player back then that only said what track number it was, not the name of it. But I don't know, like I haven't heard this beat much past like 2005, 2006. I don't know if there should be like I don't know what the beat's called, but let's bring it back, man. If any drummers out there are listening, I know there's a few. Bring it back.
I think it's the Funk Soul Brother beat too, like from the FIFA soundtrack.
Oh, Fatboy Slim,
right
yeah.
About now.
Yeah, maybe
Faint is almost like for every millennial, like part of just the puberty experience. I think it's just like, okay, here's a book about all the physical stuff, but also you're going to listen to Faint for like a week and just start punching at the air. It's part of it. It'll pass. You're good.
Oh, man.
Your buddy will have a Live in Texas DVD if you need to just like watch and like feel. But and then also hair on your knuckles and stuff like that. But Anyway, yes. If I'm not mistaken, our childhood band, Four and Apart, that we referenced on the show, this was our dream, I think. Even back then, we knew that like we had heard a rumor that Newfound Glory has a house where they just live there and record, and it's amazing. I have no frame of reference for why that was like a talking point between the four of us. But I remember really just wanting that, and seeing this, I was like, I think this was just like playing lawn games and playing instruments was, I think, might still be our actual dream. But at the time, it's something we talked about quite a bit. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I had kind of mentioned, I don't know if it was in an AMA or Patreon or an episode or what, but that weekend we spent at my dad's house where we did get to set up our PA system. We brought floor monitors, all of our instruments, and we just like lived in the upstairs of my dad's barn for a weekend. And he has jarts, like lawn darts, and we probably played
Does he have the old ones that are made of metal for no real reason?
Yeah, like the ones that have killed people.
What an amazing toy. What an amazing century to be alive in.
The 70s were nuts.
You could go to your grandma's house and just be like, hey, throw these real weapons at each other. These have been used in warfare at certain times in history, and put up hula hoops on the ground and stand near each other enough to throw these sharp things at each other. Just delightful. Endless delight that they even let us try that.
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
all the fun stuff.
Just amazing. Just amazing. Like Jarts, man. Shout out in a real way to Jarts. Because there would have been countless other ways to play that, get that same level of excitement, except that there wasn't. What if their weapons was somebody in some boardroom somewhere asked, and everyone agreed, and I'm glad. Anyway,
it's called bocce, and it's for old people.
Well, actually, bocce, we almost killed each other playing bocce. We used to not play on the courts. We would play just like in the world, like in fields and against trees and stuff. And back, I think on some vacation, my cousin Marianne happened to duck to pick a dandelion as a bocce ball flew and nailed this doghouse that was like a foot behind her, and like put a dent in the wood, or like broke one of the panels on it or something. And she just stood up with the flower and like skipped away. We were like, oh God. Bocce can get extreme. We called it extreme bocce just to be silly. But yeah. No, it wasn't exactly. Yeah, when you go out of the courts, there's no rules. You just kind of throw the bocce ball.
Oh, boy.
Shout out to bocce, which is also featured in this video.
Yeah.
Frisbee, bocce. Must have been kind of a cornhole kind of took over the world in like, what, 2011?
Yeah, I mean.
Something. I'm sure it was around before then, but
yeah.
It became a pretty agreed upon tailgating situation at some point. But shout out to it not being in this video is what I say.
Yeah, they've got a lawnmower. They're throwing cups of water at each other. Just it doesn't look too dissimilar from any time you, me, and Zach have been together. Just nothing to do. So like, how can we make fun out of anything? I've been feeling super nostalgic for those days lately. Yeah,
I mean, at your dad's house, we would just drag each other around on a cart pulled by a tractor and throw items at one another.
For hours.
Yeah, literal hours, yes. A quick gear check here. Marshall amps we talk about all the time because we want their money, but B, this just is accurate to the time period. Yamaha drums. From like the minute I was born till now, don't have a great grasp on what Yamaha does.
Fucking everything, dude.
Yeah, apparently. Thoughts on Yamaha musical instruments?
Yeah, the drums that I owned are Yamahas. They're Yamaha Rydines, the 2003 model, I think. They replaced the YDs. They were like their newer Japanese mahogany entry-level drums. They also make motorcycles and very high-end pianos. Yamaha. Four-wheelers and shit. Like, they do everything. I think they even make guitars. Good for them, man. I think it's cool that and they're all pretty damn good too. Like, it's no slouch. I remember like before I was like paying my drums off on layaway when I was like 12, and I couldn't wait to have them, and I would just like those fucking like psychopath kids in a movie that just keep drawing the same thing over and over. Mm-hmm. I would just draw the Yamaha logo over and over and over.
It's fun to learn how to draw something when you're younger and be like, this is what I draw now.
Yep. Corporate shill.
Okay, a couple questions for you. A or one, or just actually, I'm not going to list or number or whatever letter them. Have you ever learned how to play piano? Any piano lessons in your history?
You know,
Because I'm watching McMahon in this video just slam on that freaking thing, and I'm curious.
Yeah, so I remember my dad. Oh my God, this is going to be a rabbit hole. Do you remember when I've told stories of that first girlfriend, Stephanie? Her,
yes,
you remember her?
Yes, I believe you've mentioned her once or twice.
So when I was about 16 is when I started like becoming more and more of a scene kid, and they met this guy. I think his name was even Andrew, and he had long hair and he played piano, and her mom would always try to like, how about Thomas doesn't come over today? Like, we just need, some family time. But then all of a sudden this kid Andrew would show up. So she was like trying to like replace me with this kid who played piano. And I remember being so angry and hating him so much. But eventually,
even though you wanted out,
I know
the mom was doing you a solid, and she probably picked up on it.
Oh God. I was such an idiot. But anyway,
you're just humming My Friends Over You, walking into the kitchen with your pants sagging beneath your butt or something. I'm obviously that might have not been the case, but I'm picturing you as this very like other side of the tracks kid in my head, just like, hey, Mrs. Yeah, I don't know what their last name was, but hey, Mrs. H.
Those pants were so tight, man. But no, eventually, like I think it might have been my senior year. We had broken up, and my dad, whenever I go to his house, I'd play this, like, I think it was a fucking Yamaha keyboard. And he was like, hey, if you want to borrow that, you can. So I brought it home. I was playing. I learned how to play Intensity in 10 Cities by Chiodos. I still love playing that song on piano. And he was like, if you want to take piano lessons, like I would pay for them. And it meant a lot because my dad like paid a ton of money in child support. So there wasn't like a lot of extra like thrown at us, And I ended up taking piano lessons with the guy that her mom tried to replace me with. And he ended up like working, I don't know, oh God, working at World of Music, which was like the local
Andrew
music store.
Is the teacher.
Yeah.
In this scenario. That's amazing.
So he ended up teaching me piano, and I got like really, really frustrated because I gave my dad's keyboard back, and the only keyboard I could afford was like, I bought some like $20 like old like Casio synth at a garage sale or something. And it just like didn't feel quite right. The keys weren't even like a normal size. It was like really small.
Sometimes keyboards have the weighted keys, which is like, but obviously
you gotta pay for that.
You gotta pony up for that. But it does feel pretty great.
There's also like, God, it might be Yamaha as well, makes a hammer action keyboard that feels like a regular piano. It's pretty awesome. But of course it's like $5,000. But anyway,
your dad's kind of a sneaky estate sale.
Oh yeah,
keyboard, gear guy.
He went to an auction.
You should bring him on the show, man.
He went to an auction in upstate New York to buy pots and pans, and then ended up buying the house that the auction was at, and that's how he got the farm that he lives at now. Bought it at auction.
Amazing. What a guy. Just that's a pretty eerie story in my mind. Maybe it's in everything. Maybe it's an American story, world story, being a live story, but pretty nice. Just like hanging out. Runs into something like, it's actually, I kind of like it.
You want 5 acres on the lake? I'll take it.
For sure. Rust Belt forever, baby.
But anyways, I ended up doing like 4 piano lessons, and because I got so frustrated that I couldn't really practice at home that easily. But this was right around the time I was like getting ready to go to college for recording. So I bought this like $20 audio interface on eBay, and I recorded this song I was like writing as part of my like homework. And I still have that recording in my iTunes library. I should probably finish the show out with it if the file's still there, but
I agree.
So anyways, all that to say, yes, I have taken piano lessons for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, I took some in Albuquerque when I was feeling lonely. I was like, I got to get out of this fucking apartment, man. So that was like step one after because I went straight from college like a week later to the Mountain Time Zone and was just chilling. And after a few months, it was like, I should probably leave the house. So this nice guy tried to get me to learn a Christmas song. By that point, I was starting to make friends, and he was like, "Hey, did you learn that song?" I was like, "I quit. I'm sorry, I found friends." But I appreciate what you did for me, man. You were there for me in a lonely time. So, he's like, wouldn't be the first. I get it, man. Welcome to New Mexico, and I hope you have a good time. He was really nice. He was really cool about it.
Oh my God.
But I was just sitting there at this one lesson, like, I did not do the homework, man. I'll be honest with you. I love the one hand stuff, this two hand stuff. Week 5, not for me. I think I got what I needed out of this, so we should go our separate ways. I personally don't want to waste your time either, so au revoir. And he was cool about it. But here's another question for you. How's it like? I've never asked you this. Andrew McMahon, blonde-haired boy. Definitely like too rosy-cheeked for the club they put him in during the Punk Rock Princess video. Do blondes have more fun? You're a blonde-haired person. Thoughts on having blonde hair with an Andrew McMahon episode in mind?
I've never had fun and I've never felt joy.
Great. Moving along.
No, everyone tries to convince me that I have red hair. Like, it has happened probably a dozen times in my life where
If you and my sister both have strawberry blonde hair, then nobody has strawberry blonde hair, which I have maintained my entire life to be true.
It's happened a dozen times in my life where it's usually like some older woman is like arguing with me. No, your hair's strawberry blonde. No, you have red hair. It is.
Yeah, you have blonde hair and my sister
blonde.
has brown hair, but a lot of people have a varying ass opinions on what strawberry blonde is, which leads me to believe that no one's ever actually seen it.
Yeah, I'll take it. I've got some red in my beard, which maybe throws people off, but
yeah, so does
everyone.
It's a pretty Irish podcast, but I was about to be like, yeah, so does everybody else. Like we're from Boston or something. Like, yeah.
Well, let's okay, I do want to talk about just kind of like a brief overview of some of the lyrics.
Yeah, I would say let's focus on that for the remainder of the episode, I would say. Because other than one of them grabbing their leg and swinging it and, again, frisbee and bocce, which I love both dearly. I think that would be very compelling. So I'm very interested in this game you have prepared for us, or just this analysis.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just the first thing I notice is that like he's just talking about naming a lot of places. So it's like, okay, he's moving around, right? It makes sense that he's on tour. I mean, the very interesting first line, I woke up in New York City from my sleep behind the wheel. And it's like, well, how'd you get there? What do you mean sleep behind? So like, it's a metaphor for like just kind of drifting through life and somehow you ended up here and all of a sudden you're aware of like your state of being in New York City. And I like the juxtaposition of like, then caught a train to Poughkeepsie, which is like possibly the polar opposite of New York City, upstate New York, time stood still.
I don't know. A lot of good crew races there over the years, Tom. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, that's not to say it's bad. I hate New York City, so all the love to Poughkeepsie.
It's spelled in a very fun way. That's all. I just don't want to discount it. I've never been there.
So it's just, there are a lot of places and there's a girl trying to like get in touch with him. Wrote a letter from San Diego. These flights connect through Arizona, but I think I'll stay stuck. And that's the first verse, right? And it gets back more into these places and a connection with someone else from the first verse. And this is really what kind of opened my eyes to like what's going on with this song. She wrote me a letter as we passed through Rockford, which going to that game, number one, the way he says pass through Rockford, this isn't even a game. He just sounds exactly like Jarrett Reddick in the way he says it. Everyone listening to this right now, listen to the song, verse 2. The way he says Rockford sounds just like Jarrett Reddick. It's gnarly.
That's a pretty good Jarrett Reddick. It's a game if you want it to be a game, man. I'm not here with the haterade today. I'm feeling very introspective. So if that's round 1, I'm in. This game, I'm in it. We're playing.
And I really love the line, I've never been so lost. I've never felt so much at home. Please write my folks and throw away my keys. I woke up in a car. So the 2 weeks, I think it was like 13 days that we're from Erie, Pennsylvania. We went as far east as...
Don't discount it, man. That's 13 days more than most people have been on tour with a music group. So tell your story and with your chest puffed out, I say.
we went as far east as Scranton, Pennsylvania, which was awesome because The Office was like really popping off at the time in 2009. And we saw Pen Paper, we saw like all of this stuff from the intro, which was like the only stuff actually shot in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So that was fun. There was like a train yard, this abandoned train yard outside of a museum we went to. Had a lot of fun. Just like had no idea where we were, but it was so great. We found a dumpster in Scranton that had 7 large pizzas in it and like a bunch of like club crackers and stuff. And oh my God, there was like a dozen boxes of chocolate. And we took all the food. We ate those 7 pizzas, like 4 people ate those 7 pizzas for like 2 weeks. That's all we lived off of. And we gave away the boxes of chocolates at shows. They came from a dumpster. And then we went as far west as, I don't know which one is more west. We were in Chicago and we were also in Lowell, Michigan, and we were somewhere in Illinois. I forget. So like, we covered some ground. We were in this like, this short bus. It would have fit maybe like 8 people. They built bunk beds in it. And I slept most of the time we were traveling. So I'd wake up in a new city. And this was like, I was newly dating Hannah at this point, and there was this like really intense like emotional push and pull between I never like, I don't know, my upbringing wasn't really that bad or anything, but like I've always wanted to leave. Like I remember Googling like emancipation and shit as like a 15-year-old. Like, I just want to get out of this town. I want to get out of this house. And for the first time, I mean, like literally it was a week after I graduated high school, we left for tour. And it was like, there were no parents. It was me, these 2 guys, and one of the guys, his girlfriend played bass in the band. And we just fucking saw a region of the country. And it was so freeing and so liberating to just like be on my own for the first time ever and never have to ask permission to do anything. And I felt like, up until this point, I never really left Erie. I went to like California twice as a kid, Florida a couple of times to visit my grandma, but it was always like a family vacation with my mom and sister and shit. And it was like we're going to do what the family does,
How'd she let you go?
I don't think she felt like she had a choice or something. I mean, I don't know. She didn't like chain me to the house. I was gone a lot, but I was like in the city limits, you know what I mean? So I was just kind of like, hey mom, can I do this tour with my friends? I think she was skeptical, but like, hey, you're 18 and you're going to college a month later. So like, I'm not going to say no, So I like took some of my graduation money. I remember like the 2 weeks cost me like $200. And when you're 18, that's like life savings. Like, because we did not get paid for these shows. Like we paid to show up to them. And anyways, there was this very emotional push and pull of like, I'm on the road and I'm totally free. I don't know where I am, but I have never felt more at home. I'm sleeping on this like 2x4 bunk bed on like a lawn cushion, like a reclining lawn chair that was like my bed. And like they made the bunk bed a little tall, so I was like really squished between the roof of the school bus and like this plywood platform. But I'm texting with Hannah, and I was like so newly in love at the time, and it was like this part of me that was like really wanting me to go back home to Erie to be with her, but like I just felt like if I could forget about that for a minute, I had never been happier. I never felt more where I was supposed to be. And there were times where it's like, I don't even want to think about Erie. And I feel bad because I don't want to think about this person that I'm like fucking in love with, like, your first love, whatever. But there was always something every time I thought about her, all of a sudden I felt so lonely. And I'm like in the middle of the country, broke with a school bus that keeps breaking down because the fuel injector's f***ed up because they bought it on some guy on eBay for like $600 or whatever. And it really kind of it was a huge bummer. I think it's like why a lot of people like don't want to go to college while they're dating someone, because I feel like there were many moments where it kept me from fully experiencing this thing that I was in that I really wanted to be a part of. But there was this other part of me, my life back home with this person, that also, like, being back home held a lot of, had a lot of other baggage to it. So I just felt very emotionally like torn between these two situations I was in and not really knowing where I'm supposed to be, where I'm actually happy. Like, is being on the road actually making me happy, or is it just covering up how uncomfortable I feel in my house? You know what I mean?
It's kind of the Born to Run versus Darkness on the Edge of Town thing, where you learn it's not that hard to get out,
Right.
And it's exciting, and there's plenty of them, to write songs encouraging teens to leave this town. Pop punk in the 2000s made a killing on it. It's the welcome to the show, right? In this song in particular, he says, if I were her, I'd paint my body till all my skin was gone. I always took that as a tattoo sentiment, but really it's a sentiment about encouraging someone to continue moving all the time throughout their life to, necessitate more ink and more homes that you would love. But, on the Darkness on the Edge of Town side of things, the name of the band you toured with, Run Forever. Is that a thesis statement, or is that a mantra that can survive? For some, it's great. For some, they don't. That's not what brings them that joy. We started this episode talking about wanting to listen to music others did because they seem to be onto something. Some people are just very fucking content not running forever.
Yeah.
We are doing this show to look back at that decade through a lens. The lenses we're looking through now, right? So I guess we can close the show with this, but you talked about that tour experience. Where are you at now? Because you seem even conflicted then about that whole sentiment, like, hey, I just hopped in this car that did leave my town. I have a lot to process. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thoughts on like that tattoo thing? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just, to each their own is really maybe an oversimplification, but the correct way to frame all that. But it's not that hard to just go, but like you still have to be with yourself. So like you're still with you, which is something you cannot escape. So, but that's not in a lot of those songs I've noticed. So anyway, just thoughts on like you got to jump out and get a first taste of it, and you've been bumping around, and you and I have both moved around quite a bit throughout our lives. Thoughts on the other end of that equation?
Yeah, I mean, I know that if like my life fell apart and I found myself single, I would move to San Diego and just kind of, I don't know, like be home sometimes and be traveling around other times. But another part of that, like another part of me feels disgusted by that. Cause I mean, you probably know better than anyone. I love being home. I love having like all of my things in just the right place.
Yes, the you do, man.
I've eaten the same thing for breakfast every day for 2 years.
You are Jim Halpert. If anyone listening to the show thought I was Jim Halpert, you're wrong. Tom is Jim Halpert. Yeah. Jim comes into work every day and eats the same ham sandwich. My money's on him going to Philly this weekend. Is like one of the most devastating Ryan Howard lines in that whole show. Because he's right. He's fucking right. And that's okay. I guess that's the larger point we're trying to chip at. It's just like when you're young and you're hearing these songs, you're like, yeah. And then you're like, I don't know. I remember being in Albuquerque just like staring at this great fucking expanse that man has tried to like write into their songs and poetry for fucking years and succeeded. But like, I don't know. There was this Bob Seger CD that was in my car. It was like a mix of stuff my sister gave me, a mix of stuff that my dad had in his collection. And it was like Hollywood Nights or Against the Wind and all that shit. Just like Seeger was like gospel on the way out. And it was just kind of like, yes, but Bob, what happens next? Bob, tell me. Damn it, Bob, where do you go? You can't just roll on away all the time. Or so it seemed to me. I remember just being out there like, okay, now what? This seemed exciting at the time, but No,
I mean, pretty much I'm glad that I did it. I wish that I could have like toured a little bit more. But I mean, as I started taking out those student loans, I knew like I'm not going anywhere for the rest of my life. Like I just got to work now,
Well, it's interesting. There's no two albums that like sometimes maybe a band just only sings about that. But like, it seems like a lot of artists that are around for a while have the like, hey, we're young and we're running away album. But then there's always like the dealing with fame album, kind of inevitably. Joe Walsh, Life's Been Good is like a great example of that. But, it's just kind of like everyone even our heroes had to grow up as well. And I think like Andrew McMahon in The Wilderness is kind of like, I have a daughter now, is like great music about having a totally different life experience, which is like maybe the beautiful part of it and maybe the answer we've been kind of dancing around. But maybe the larger point is it was fun to be running and have this to listen to as we were doing it. I'm not sure really what I'm getting at, but I'll kind of let you take it from here.
No, I mean, it is interesting though, because I feel like there is this part of me that's like, man, I wish I could do that again. I wish I could just like be on the road and like not care about anything. But like, I don't know if those are like authentic, genuine feelings. Maybe it's just like if I had a really rough day and I'm tired from work, I just like don't want to fucking be doing this right now.
Yeah.
But like, there's also this up part of me that's like, what if I just drove headfirst into that semi right now? So I like can't always trust my instincts to just like want to do something on a whim. I wouldn't want to not be at home watching Netflix with my wife every night.
I think I'm hoping everybody has those, or maybe I hope not everybody does, but I was on the highway the other day and it was really windy and I was like putting a ton of effort into keeping the wheel straight. I was just like, man,
what if I just let go?
A little harder than it feels worth, man. Just kind of like, fucking hell, this is like fucking not pleasant enough to keep this thing going or something. It's just like, damn, wind, you're really yeah. Anyway.
Oh God.
I don't know, but yes. Anyway, to comfort your own thoughts, at least I, and I'm sure others, it's kind of like the Running Man thing next to the car who's either skateboarding or biking or running and jumping from lawn to lawn. I think it's kind of this like, we're all more alike than we think.
But I'm glad to be where I am now. There's a part of me that looks back wanting to be 19 again with absolutely nothing in the world to care about. But those are also like some of my saddest days. So I'm like really romanticizing the ability to like have no one care about me or like not have anywhere to be, no one relying on me. But
is it comforting or maddening to know that like every part of this is like the most predictable thing possible? Like
right.
McMahon's arc, our arc, Seeger's arc, Springsteen's arc, the Killer's arc. Like, I don't know, like, well, you know, you'll grow up like your parents are like, well, you'll get older in this. I'm like, well, why don't you go blow it out your fucking ass, you know, like, you know, I'll never stop, you know, but then it's like, you will, and then it's true, and then it's like, but then it's like, good.
I hate it. I hate growing up and like, I'll never be like my parents, and I'm exactly like my parents.
Oh, to a T, man. To a T. Real 50-50 split. It's almost like it's genetic or something. And it's so interesting to try to handle. Anyway, before we just ramble too much into your ears, we should probably shut the episode down and take this to the post show.
Sure.
I will say this, there was no shame in feeling this passionately about that message at the time.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing wrong with feeling that as deeply as you were feeling it, sleeping on a bus in rural Illinois. Like, that's tremendous.
Yeah.
I think that's allowed to be fantastic in its own way. And the fact that you've, you know, I think a lot of people of our generation are kind of like, didn't think I was going to last this long anyway, so I guess we'll just see what happens next, you know. Like, yeah. But yes, I'm thankful to McMahon in this record for just being around to kind of help fuel various bike rides and walks and late night editing sessions and writing papers and walking the dog, this and that. Just kind of, man, got to be one of my top 30 albums if I really sat down and thought about it.
Okay.
Oh, man, maybe top 50. I don't know. I always say that. I always take wild-ass guesses that I know probably aren't right. But what's beautiful is I don't think I'm ever actually going to try. Maybe I will.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what this show's leading to. I don't know. But anyway, if you're still listening, thank you. I don't have anything more to say.
Yeah. Well, let's give a song of the week.
Okay, I do have one more thing to say. And that is that my song of the week is The Killers, Runaway Horses featuring Phoebe Bridgers. I will say, you know, they said, I think they were quoted in some interview a few weeks ago saying, you know, she's got a little cowgirl in her or something, and she quoted that and said, "Ye fucking ha." But yeah, the Killers are kind of becoming Springsteen, and Eve 6 was like they're better than Springsteen, and I don't know, their whole like post everything that came after, I want to say Battleborn, has been pretty fucking interesting. Exploding the Mirage was tremendous though, and explosive in its own way. I don't know. This is one of those picks for songs of the week that I haven't spent enough time with the record to have an elegant opinion about it, so I'll pass it back over to you.
All right. I've got a UK band from 2019 called Goldblum. The opening song on their debut and only EP, A Damned Shame, is pretty good. It's really fun. Reminds me of like very 2012 pop punk. I'm thinking like Handguns kind of stuff, which I think was probably more 2010. But anyways, yeah, I like it a lot. I hope there's more music from them. They've been kind of active on their Facebook, I guess. Haven't heard really a ton since, but yeah, good, like, small local UK band, Goldblum.
Nice. I have one thing to say before we finish. Are you ready?
Yeah.
F you, Robert Persig. F you, man. He wrote Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. All right, we'll take it to the post show. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Oh, shit. I forgot the other Bowling for Soup games. Okay.
Oh.
I shouldn't have even started. This is a terrible game. But anyway, in the video, one of the band members is wearing a Whitesnake shirt, and it made me think of 1985. She was going to shake her ass on the hood of Whitesnake's car. Is that 1985? Wait. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, you were correct.
And then parallel number 3 is that I'm sorry. I hope Andrew McMahon isn't listening. It's just like Bowling for Soup. It's a really good song that I don't think really has a lot of staying power with me, but it's really fun to listen to. Terrible game. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I was positive before about it. Now I'm not so sure. That third one wasn't even a third one, but yes.
Well, I couldn't just
Sorry,
do two.
Robert Persig. Except not really. I'd like to, I don't know. You got me worked into a shoot, Robert Persig. Okay, bye, everybody.